Welcome, everyone. I am Brad Chester. We are definitely running late because it's definitely Brandon's fault. 100%. I told him like 3 weeks ago, I was like, hey, man, you need to help us out here. And he was like, screw you, man. I do what I want on my own damn
That
time.
is exactly what happened on my own damn time, 3 minutes before the cast started.
Why do you keep acting like this is a bad thing?
All I ask is for like more than 3 minutes notice. That's all.
All right, so Brad, next week, 4 minutes.
You're welcome, sir. What do you guys think I should play this weekend, by the way? I'm going to that RTT. And
Which RT?
going to RTT up in Melbeck, something, Montague, wherever Anna's place is. About 3 hours that way from my house. I'm going up there. I'm teaching a class on Friday, and then we're doing an RTT. She was cool enough to run it for us. I was like, I'll come up and teach the class if you run an RTT to give me a reason to show up. So we're doing that.
Nice.
So I've been promised Malbec, and I've been promised some place that I can pass out after Malbec. And then we're playing the RTT the next day.
So who's driving you?
Tom. Well, not me. That sounds crazy talk. I don't want to just go Montague. That's where we're going.
So I guess what army benefits the most from auras, since that's going away next edition?
Good. Auras are stupid.
So play that army. Salamanders?
Well, I could bring my
Space wolves?
Do I have my salamanders here? That's a good question. My wolves aren't. I don't have the wolves here. The wolves are going to be hard to play because I don't have them. However, I do have. I think I might have my salamanders here. I know for sure I've got. I just didn't give back John Zeldar yet because he said just wait and give them to him at the Invitational. And that was per John. Thank you very much. It's not my fault. I mean, it's totally my fault.
Are they all like not broken?
No, I've totally put them away right. Like mostly, I think so. I mean, put it this way. I feel like I didn't break anything at the tournament. So what could possibly have happened?
Only slight levels of concern.
So, Brad, at the store today, a couple of our regular guys got into this amazing lore discussion. And it really, the argument was Gilliman and the Lion meeting on Terra. Gilliman looking, angry and mad that they're losing with people saying they're winning. And yet he's got a big titty goth girl. And
whoa, big titty goth Eldar girl.
Yeah, big titty goth Eldar girl.
Thank you very much.
And the Lion's there with, I don't know, some fallen to chaos, return to the Emperor fallen. And scene is set. And he said, one guy was like, but that's Civil War Part 2. That's heresy from everybody's perspective on both sides. So therefore, when's the war start? And that's where they took off running with it. And it was quite interesting to listen to. And I wanted to hear your take on that idea.
I think that he already accidentally got most of them killed when they did the assault on Wormwood or fake Caliban. So I don't know if it'll be that big of a deal. Bobby G is basically a bureaucrat, though. So I don't think he's going to go all in on anything. I think that this is why I think we need one more loyalist on this, because that doesn't really set up. Like, Bobby G will just talk you into doing stuff that you didn't know you were supposed to do, and then you basically leave and find out later. You're like, what the hell? I was going to fight that guy. And instead he gave you like a gift basket with fruit. And you went home and you're like, what the fuck? Were we supposed to scrap? And you're like, also, do I have a to-do list? So I don't think that that's going to throw down. I think that we need a hot-headed crazy person to go crusade into the galaxy. That's true. The Lion is definitely never going to play the heretic card at any list. That's true. Primaris versus Firstborn Rebellion, 100% on that. The Firstborn had to be super salty, by the way. I would also be real annoyed when I'm standing here going, so you guys could have done this 10,000 years ago, but I'm a foot shorter than this guy, and he has better armor. Hey, how long have you had this shit in the closet, bro? Like
I've been stockpiling for 10,000 years.
yeah. So yeah, any chance we can all get this Primaris thing? You're like, it might kill you. I'm like, I don't know of any people at all that have died from the Primaris switch. It's like, this could be dangerous to your health. You're like, one guy got an upset stomach.
It would be interesting if they killed a main character doing a Primaris switch, though, where they like tried to get someone to cross Rubicon and they died.
Mm,
It would be an intriguing. It would be an intriguing idea. Like,
Yeah.
hey, so and so, you're like the leader of X, like Lamenters or whatever. Pick a not super popular chapter, and then cram the extra organs in them, make stretch them out a little bit more, and then go, oh, he died.
so
I mean, that'd be better than what happened to Commissar York.
yeah. I mean, wait, let's talk about a couple of these things that are going down right now. I mean, Zoobs have good things. Corax, somebody needs to take the fight to Chaos. Also, Corax doesn't need to lead the fight into the Crusade, into the Eye of Terror, because Corax is basically a demon prince and he refuses to acknowledge it. But first step is admitting your problem, bro. He's an invisible warp-infused creature, otherwise known as a demon prince. So, but there is some shit, though. Like, they kind of ended the book with everybody bailing because all the shit was going on. Vashtor pulled, like, some super sneaky git shit. Because Vashtor shows up, steals the engine out of the rock, basically. He doesn't just steal it, he convinces it to leave with him. Yep. Which is a big deal.
Well, yeah, with them taking away the engine and Vashtor basically getting all the parts he needs, now you've got all these Arks of Omen floating around that the ones that haven't been destroyed are pretty much going to wreak havoc because most planets aren't prepared for them.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that Space Hulks used to be the biggest thing ever, and Arks of Omen are just laughably larger and more powerful. Yep. They're also effectively a giant gun. So, so that's crazy. Everybody that doesn't know the lore, these arcs are literally ultra speed. They're basically Space Hulks on crack. They're just these gigantic mass planets, basically, that are just zooming around, fucking shit up. And they've got quite a few of them now. So they haven't done anything about these arcs either. They just well,
they've blown up 3 of the 10, right? If my
it was 2.5 basically. The one's still there. It was just crippled.
Right. And I do like that the Imperial Navy breached one of them and had a successful campaign against Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, and the thing is that they have to do something with that, because I mean, you can't just leave like, hey man, we lost there's 7 Death Stars floating around the galaxy, we should probably figure out what the fuck's happening there. And I do think Goat's got it right. He goes, he's just gonna let Bobby G do whatever, and then Lion's just gonna fuck around with his little corner of Nihilus, because Lion's never been like super take charge of anything that wasn't specifically his. You know what I mean? In all the lore, he did Dark Angel shit. You know what I mean? Like, he was never do anything else. He did Dark Angel shit, and that was his shit. So, like, he's also not a real big sharer if you read all the books. Also, if you guys, everyone should read the Forest Moon of Endor Lion book, because it is badass. And also, the Lion just went OP to the next dimension. His rules in the game are a joke compared to what he does in the book. Holy shit, man.
He beats the crap out of Angron.
But it's not because he just beat the crap out of Angron. I mean, they did literally Dark Side Sith Angron, because he did the whole distraction of, look over there. And then he just went, eat shield, chump. just crushed his head into a wall. But like, in that book, man, he's like ultra psychic mojo that he never had before. He's also, yeah, man, remember when I warp jumped? You know how? By myself? Sorry, forest walked. Whatever, man. He's warp jumping, you know what I mean? So That's pretty sweet because apparently he's also like, hey, you guys should come with me. Do we need a Geller shield? Nah, what bad could happen? I feel like that's just rolling the dice. I hang out with the lion. What happens? It's like 80% death rate. But we're all wearing red shirts, so it doesn't really show up in the books. Yeah, I mean,
know.
Lucas goes, he was really good at dividing a legion.
Yeah.
Right down the middle, baby. Well,
I mean,
that's what
so
happens.
he has. So in one thing, he enacts the Dreadwing protocol, and they talk nothing about it.
Yeah, 100% on that.
Like we're going to enact the Dreadwing protocol. What is it? The Dreadwing protocol. What does it do?
Oh, sorry, I forgot ultimate fuck ups, guys. Yeah, came in with he did give the Iron Warriors a bunch of artillery. That is true. Right before they found out they were going to trade her up, he's like, "You guys should take all of this." No problem, bro. That won't come back to haunt you. Did you just say that out loud? No.
Is it the Dreadwing protocol when they release the Men of Iron?
Apparently,
correct stuff.
But they never really discuss it.
Goat's got a thing on that. The Cypher book's really sweet too. The problem with Cypher for me is they just always done such a shit job about him in the game, so it was hard to get super excited about the character. Plus, he was super bad for like a really long time, like in the actual game of 40K.
Yeah, probably from 4th all the way through 7th, he was bad.
Like bad too.
Like terrible bad.
And he could also
so what's his fluff now? Last I heard, he was going to visit the Emperor, and then he just vanished.
Well, he wanted to kill it, so like it's super whack because he is basically he's literally, his book is good, but it's basically just exposition of we need to give you some lore, so.
Did he breach the Great Hall, if I remember correctly?
He breached the Great Hall, and basically they left it kind of vague as to how it rolls out, but he effectively got told by the Emperor that the Emperor's got to power up some more. He should get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
That's where they get that's where you get confirmation that the Emperor is like, hey, I need a couple more psychers to really juice up to drop the Hogan's leg drop on Chaos.
So at least the consensus of the group of us that ended up talking today was that this all seems to be with Gilliman being at the Golden Throne door, the Lion showing up, everything else. And we would assume one other Primarch's about to show up, and my guess is Russ, because it would make the most sense for conflict.
What, you mean because of the fact that the dude, Russ was supposed to show up like 2 years ago. Remember when more. When they brought back the 13th Company and shit, I was like, there's no way they're not bringing back Russ, because that's who he left with. Or sorry, he left and they came right after him. So that's why I didn't give the full thing on it. The Cypher book's like really good, but it is a bunch of lore dump, so I didn't want to do all of it here. The other stuff they already said, literally on the Warhammer community page, they did a summary of the Lions book, basically. Yeah. Sorry. Anybody who listen on audio, Zoom's like, Cypher showed up and the Emperor was like, can you turn this oven up to 500 so I can crisp up the skin? Good question. Starlord goes, where are all the Primarchs at anyways? We'll do them in no order whatsoever. Ferrus Manus is wondering where his head is because it got chopped off. The Khan is somewhere in the Dark City. I don't know if he's stasis or what, or they basically have him running around in the webway, but the Dark Eldar basically kept putting a carrot in front of him and he kept chasing it around like an idiot. Sorry, White Scars fans, but he got super tooled up. Obviously, Bobby G's back. The Lion's back. They still haven't really said what was going on with the Lion, whether it was just completely warp time, where he just completely skipped time, or what was going on 100% with that. Alfarius is supposedly dead and his brother Omegon's somewhere around. Fulgrim, I'm assuming, is just going to come back. Magnus is being a pouty bitch because Aramon's running around doing wacky shit. Also, Aramon's like 1 billion times cooler than Magnus is, and Magnus should be cooler. Magnus is still sad that his dad yelled at him. I guess and he stayed sad after Lehman Russ broke his spine over his knee. Lehman Russ got drunk and walked into the Eye of Terror. I'm not making this up. He walked into the Eye of Terror. He doesn't understand physics. He just rolls in. Korax is a demon prince. I refuse to acknowledge anything else. He is literally on a mission to murder fuck Lorgar. So he wants to stab him in the chest, the eyes, and everywhere else. But he's an invisible warp.
Right, but he's infused with warp
yeah,
energy.
Like super juiced up on warp energy. Yeah, yep. So he's totally a demon prince. He just refuses to admit it. He's got a slight problem.
He's not a chaos demon prince though. He's just a demon prince.
Correct.
Yeah.
So say, hey, we read a book. Nice work, Chad. But man, I'm missing so many people here. Perturabo's just cruising around waiting to fuck with Dorn if he comes back. I feel like that's his only reason for living is to wait for the return of Dorn and then to...
And he's definitely a demon prince.
Yeah, and to knock down whatever Dorn does.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what he does. He could open up a string of chicken restaurants and he would kill those. It doesn't matter.
Dorn's off somewhere building Lego structures.
Yeah. I don't even know. I actually don't know where Dorn is. I think Dorn just got sad and took off. Vulcan's waiting. Well, Vulcan got crazy, because of the whole getting killed for years every day. I hate when someone tortures and kills me every day.
Mm-hmm.
So he's supposed to come back. He's supposed to come back when his chapter gets all of his artifacts together and basically forms Voltron. Who am I missing? The Conrad Cruz is dead.
Sanguinius is dead.
Sanguinius and Conrad Cruz are both dead.
Yep.
Horus is dead.
Yep.
Yeah, there is. There seems like there's a lot of sons waiting for their dad to return with the milk. I'm on my way to the store.
And then we have two sons that we don't know where they are.
Yeah. And who am I missing though?
Lost track. Zuber, chime in chat. Let me know what we missed.
Mortarian's doing Mortarian things. I actually thought he was going to be a bigger part of things that were going on because they were really big on that storyline of him leading the curse, or not the curse, but the plague. The what was that called? The zombie curse thing that he was pushing like through that entire segmentum. So, but whatever, I can't remember. It was the thing that caused you to get plague zombies.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
So we talked about Russ is in the Eye of Terror. He's just waiting to come out.
I agree. Zuber's idea is actually pretty good with Perturbro could come in through the Vastor storyline where they make him into a knight. That
would be actually super sweet. I mean, yeah. Vastor apparently is really good at like convincing dudes. He's like Hannibal Lecter style, just convincing people to do bad things. Primax are super. Some of the Primax are actually really interesting, to be honest with you. The books on some of them really flesh them out, and they're really, really exciting.
The Sanguinius book was actually good. It made me enjoy him a little more as a character, because I always looked at him as like he always seemed like the Jesus of the 40K universe.
He's just still so OP, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's ridiculous. Like, you can't even bring him back. He would just be like, hey, man, he's not hurt.
I think he's going to like come in some way through the Sanguinor for a quote unquote rebirth.
Well, that's the Sanguinor is supposedly the spirit of Sanguinus in the first place.
Yeah, but
that would be pretty cool if we got a whole new model kit for that.
There's going to be some kind of evolution of the Sanguinor. I expect this edition. It would be that's pretty much either him or Dante are the only two they can really do anything with at this point for modeling.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's true. Valdor is around somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, he's also an Eternal, so that's a big deal on that. I mean, there's some seriously cool guys that are out there lore-wise that I'd love to see some stuff with. So they also
I just want some way for them to bring back the most hated character in 40K.
I don't even want to talk about that guy. The guy responsible for the Horus Heresy by himself.
100%.
He's also a huge pussy.
Of course, be the perfect person
He's
to bring
totally lame. He sucks so much at everything. Oh, it's Lorgar and Erebus just running around being dork brothers. Meow, 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 pushing their glasses with their tape in the middle back, going,
back. Well, actually, if you were to take and put them together and you would have some fun and get something going, of course, this would be the lamest crossover ever.
All right. So besides Primarchs, what armies would we like to see? Like what races would we like to see come out in 10th? Because with these new boarding action box sets, they've been releasing some new stuff that we haven't seen. So what are you guys interested in seeing?
Dark Mechanica. Vashtor's there.
True.
Let us have it.
What about you, Brad?
man, I'm going to my roots. I need freaking Exodite Eldar. I need Eldar on flying dinosaurs, damn it.
All right.
With bright lances attached to their heads.
See the new Seraphon models that came out?
No. Are they Eldar on dinosaurs with bright lances tied to their
there
heads?
is in the new Seraphon box set that comes out on Saturday. There's like these little, I don't know, they're rider guys. But somebody like who got an early release box set took one. It was like, hey, look, the riders from the sniper bikes for Eldar fit perfectly on them. Look, jet bikes, Exodite jet bikes. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And in my brain, I went, oh, that's a very expensive conversion, but it looks really cool.
See, I would actually like to see some more like the herd. I think the herd would be kind of interesting now that we have dwarves back. I still want a Crew Mercenary book. We'll see if that actually happens.
They need to make an entire. You know how we got the basically we had the Craft World book made back in the 3rd edition. I'll give you way back when we had a couple of those supplement books. I don't know why they haven't put out a supplement book for all the Tau auxiliary races. There's a shit ton of them. We talked about this the other day. Like you could make tons of rules because there's so many of them.
So what if they like? I would like to see them do like an Imperium book where it brings all the like the Imperial Navy, all the assassins, all the different Arbites and everything else into 40K, and they could do that on the other side with like unaligned, so they don't have faction specific stuff with Crew, the herd, a whole bunch of different stuff. They could bring Zotes in. They could do a whole ton of amazing stuff, like getting the Amble into 40K again. Just a bunch of interesting things they could do. They could also put monsters in and a whole bunch of different stuff.
You know what? I actually was talking about this. I was talking with Gary about this. We were doing the Dark Eldar Fluffy DOG the other day. And he asked what I wanted to see. And I was the Exodite. But unit-wise in Dark Eldar, in the fluff, the lore of it, they have giant creatures. Like right now you get that little beast pack of little small shit. Like I'd love to see a Beastmaster with giant ass Carnifex looking things. You know what I mean? They have huge giant monsters that they lead into in those arenas. They could do anything. They
have things like Rancor size stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And they literally infuse them with chaos and shit. They like nothing is off limits for the Dark Eldar. They'll put any two things together. You're like, look, man, we're making a T-Rex poodle mix where this is happening.
There's a lot of interesting places to go with all the stuff they've built through Arks of Omen because they've set the story up to kind of advance forward a little more rapidly, I think. So it'll be fun to see where they go with it. But with I would like to see like the Dark Eldar and Eldari, race fight again, have an actual war, have an actual story arc, and then they could bring in stuff like the Exodites.
Here, I'm going to give you something that Scary threw down, and we were talking about. All right, sorry, now Blake did this one. Blake wanted one of the two of them. I don't know. I'm an old man. I lose track of everything. Dark Eldar using Spirit Stones, corrupting them. So you have corrupted Wraith constructs.
Oh.
That'd be pretty cool.
That'd be neat.
Also, be badass to model. I mean, I won't do it, but you guys will do badass conversions. Counting on you, Brandon. Counting on you.
All right, give me the stuff. I think I have some plastic Wraith guard behind me. So I actually would also like to see a non-imperial human race, because before the Great Crusade, like all the imperial or all the humans broke up, and there was some with a very advanced technology, and they hint on them in the very storylines, but
Yeah.
we never actually see them. Like I want to see what that
Well,
technology looks like.
we had a couple of them actually. That we had one in a couple of the old codexes. They talk about how they met a couple of the human races, and those races literally just escaped. So with heretic technology, but it was just basically technology from the dark age of technology. So they basically just went, yeah, man, you can plot along with your Model T. We're just gonna literally warp jump out of here in a better way to warp jump, and just took off. But those were like the small stories, in the sides of the codexes. I do miss that, by the way, when they had we still have a lot of fluff in the books, in the book a lot, but they used to have actual like kind of breaking lore in those small stories, like the little like side stories next to units and shit like that were pretty badass, where they dropped kind of lore bombs on you. They don't really do that anymore.
No. They use a lot of like one of the things that a lot of people miss out on is if you don't have the Black Library app, there's a bunch of short stories that only pop up in there.
Exactly. They have it's a lot of cool stuff on that. I want to go back to the wall. There's a couple like good ones here, because I want to go back to Zoom's going. My thing in 40K is the desperate, hopeless defense of humans against the unstable nightmare of existence. And then the Primarchs are Mary Sue struggling with teen hormonal imbalances. Man, I know the whole world's ending, but like, he was mean to me, and I have no date to the prom. And then, of course, there are two more Primarchs that were basically supposedly just stolen away by what's-her-face, the Eve of the Emperor, whatever that. I can't remember her name. What was the female that was in charge of all the Primarchs? The mother of all?
I just read this last week, and I have no idea what the name was.
I can't remember her name.
Yeah, I can't pull that up.
Something with an E.
Who wins? I'm not gonna say who wins the Invitational. I'm just gonna say it in the rhymes with Chad Brester.
I don't even think Steven's going to the Invitational.
I'm not sure either. Yeah, that really helps me out if I'm trying to just beat Steven. Take that.
Congrats on your win, Brad. For someone who didn't even show up.
Ogden wasn't able to go to the Invitational? Something with work?
I don't know, but I'm not sure on that. He's been super busy. Erda, yeah. Thank you. I couldn't remember. I knew they used an E word, but it wasn't Eve. I'm excited to play the Wolves. I've been having like a lot of fun with it.
I think for the Invitational, I think someone that we're not expecting is going to win. No idea who, but
also we didn't say that I'm going to play.
It could be Brian. Who knows? Just throwing that curveball. It could be Lyle with his white scars.
He's not going to bring the white scars. He's going to try out because he wanted to play Bobby G, and I actually made him an Ultramarines list, and it is not your average. It's not your average Ultramarines. And I said,
the question is, how many Super Crack Johnny Fives are in there?
Only 10. So it's 10. I've got a unit of Hellblasters in there. I've got 6 Eradicators, a unit of Aggressors because he loves Aggressors, 2 Invictor Warsuits because obviously you can bop them back with the strat, Bobby G, Tigerius, 2 units of Infiltrators, some other shit I can't remember now, Primaris Apothecary. There's just a lot of bodies.
Julie and Scott, you guys better get on that.
And I've been saying for a while that Ultramarines are a sleeper of the Marine faction right now. And people poo-pooed me, and then they won a GT.
I think Ultramarines are just, the thing is that the Iron Hands just do what they do, just slightly better. But now that you don't have Codex Warfare, just getting you an auto 15, I think the Ultramarines are something to talk about again. 100%.
But is Bobby G actually worth it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he is a motherfucker on that, dude.
He's
like,
so expensive.
Yes, but if you build a list that's built around wandering around with him, because he's got a couple things. He's got full rerolls on everyone within 6 inches. They have, and he rerolls 1s to wound, and he's got a 12-inch aura of reroll 1s on anybody Imperium. And then, and that's just gigantic. He's just making someone reroll 1s. Also, and then the strat for Overwatch by committee on GW Train is buck wild because you're basically full rerolls and you're hit on 5s because you're just going to be touching Train. True. KR goes, everything won a GT lately. Try again. That is true. Last week, who won a GT? Yes.
Yeah, that is true. You are not incorrect.
I'm pretty through like Pikachu won a GT last week also. So, I would love to see an Inquisition edition book come out. That would be actually pretty cool too.
Yeah.
I think
that'd be fantastic. I think that's where they got to do an Imperium book where they've got the Inquisition, the Navy, the Arbites, all the Rogue Trader stuff that they've got out there. They've got so many models out there that don't fit into any codex right now. That it'd be nice to have a central rule spot for them all.
Yeah, that I wouldn't mind. I don't mind a central book where you're taking small pieces that you can take, have it really fleshed out. I just don't like when everybody's using the same codex. Yeah, so the Ultramarines do have decent codex or codex secondaries also. And they also have the Seal of Oath, which I should probably give to somebody in that list. I forgot about that.
100% should.
That thing's badass. You're like, we all have decided to hate that guy.
That one unit in particular.
Why? Why? You're like, you know why. You're getting your ass kicked. That's going down. But
Brad, do you want to play Bobby G Biker Bonanza?
No, I do not. I
100% do. 42 bikes at Bobby G.
I was just about to say it's going to be just all scout bikers. Did you get some sort of like sponsorship deal with Scout Bikes that you're like you want to make those happen?
No, I own 27 of them, so I definitely want them to not be garbage.
And right now they are some not good.
Like they're the same amount of points as a regular bike, but they have 1 less wound, a 4+ save. I'm not understanding what's going on here.
Oh Jesus!
Every once in a while we forget about a unit and just go, "Oh yeah, here's some rules. Thanks." Okay.
They're so bad. I want to put them on the table though. I love them.
Yeah, Zoom's talking about the Harleys, but I do want to talk about the fact that one of my favorite things in the fluff is the Harlequins should be. I don't like them as a whole army because they show up when shit's about to go down. I love when they show up in Craft Worlds because they put on the entire play, and then you have to realize to yourself, oh yeah, these guys only show up to put on this play when we're about to be attacked. You guys suck. I hate seeing you. Scout Bikers might actually head to the Legends list. That would be sad because they would have never had their time in the sun.
They did for a little bit.
I mean, there was a time in like 5th edition when they were good.
No, they were when 7th launched. They were pretty good. And 8th, the beginning of 8th, they were fine because they still have a crap ton of shots.
They do have a ton of shots, yes. Before everybody was just faking everything off, yes.
I mean, you could put them with Bobby G, run 18 of them, and you'd reroll all your hits and wounds.
I was just about to say, before Bobby G got nerfed, you were reeling all hits, all wounds. That was a real thing. So, yes, anytime you can put out a volume of shots and reroll all hits and wounds, yes, that's legit. So, here, let's do a prediction so we can, as in the recording, we can pull this back up and see who's unbelievably wrong. Who's gonna be the best coming out of the gate in 10th edition? You can't choose Tyranids and Marines because they're probably going to be the people that get the codex.
Eldar, 100%. Eldar have the longest track record of being stupid.
Being stupid. But they're not really stupid in Index. They were terrible last Index. They were bad, dude.
They're going to be fantastic.
Yeah, but remember, Yanari still existed in the last Index.
I mean, Yanari's really good, but Eldar by themselves were really terrible.
I think Eldar. I think Eldar's going to be the one to beat.
I'm hoping Chaos Space Marines.
Yeah, there has been some Eldar that said Eldar were going to be super bad, so Tank hammer is coming. Yeah, that's true. If Goat's got a thing on that. If we get the fact that tanks are significantly better than everything else, Guard does have the most tanks that can put out the biggest beatings. So that might be a thing.
It'll be interesting to see where the non-Space Marine tanks and the non-Imperium tanks line up.
Ooh, you know what? Go ahead. Sorry.
I kind of want to see like Onager Dune crawlers get their day in the sun.
Oh, I can see that. I'm going to go to Starlord real quick. Can you guys explain how exactly index works? So effectively, when they do a full reset before anybody gets a codex, you effectively get everybody together, and they just list the effectively just straight stats of each unit. And if they have an inbuilt special thing that they can do, that's about it. And that's all you're getting. So it's basically bare bones Warhammer. Most units don't have a whole lot of things they can do because most of those things come from when they get their codex, and things get a lot of special rules.
So at this one, if you listen to what GW has said, every unit and every that's available is going to get a card with their stats on it and their abilities. Then there's going to be 2 pages, roughly a front and back page, for every army with all the army specific rules for that army. That's what they've said. That's what they put out. So that's what an index is here's everybody. Here's their new rules all at once for every army today, day one.
Yep.
And bam. And
that should be better. And I think they'll learn from 8th, because 8th did suck. The game was better, but it did stink to have like just no rules for anything. You know what I mean? It was straight. What's the best point? Toughness, wounds for the points. That was just what you took. So
sure, because you saw 3 Storm Ravens in Bobby G.
Yep. Well, I mean,
it was 4 Storm Ravens.
No, whoa. That's a huge lie, my friend. It was 6 Storm Ravens.
It was Storm Ravens and Bobby G.
Yeah, it was five Storm Ravens.
Bobby G was worth 2 Storm Ravens.
No, it was. I'm saying it was the list at everybody brand at WTC was 5 Storm Ravens and Bobby G, or 6 Storm Ravens and Dante.
And 6 Storm Ravens and Drago.
Ugh, it was so ridiculous. I mean, it might be. Zoom's got a point on this. Chaos Knight, basically, Knights might be unkillable at the onset because, again, they'll just have the most stats and we won't have enough special abilities. But maybe they're going to put out enough special abilities now. You're saying that, Brian. You know what I mean? That will.
Yeah, because if you look at what they've shown already, now granted, they've only shown Marine and 1 Tyranid stat card, but everyone they showed has had, this is the stats, this is the ability, this is the sub ability. And like on that Librarian, it was, here's a thing, here's a thing, here's a thing, here's a thing. And you were like, oh, that's pretty cool. If every faction has something that has that kind of stackable abilities in that data sheet, it's going to be fine. Now, if you get, 100 data sheets that are just blank, no, that's not the thing that we want to see. But everything that they've shown and everything they've talked about is they are going to have abilities. They are going to be on the card. And that OC stat is going to end up being, at least if the missions stay in the same vein they're currently in, like one of the greatest things that you have to look at when you're pointing out your army.
Yeah. And the thing is they put which I've been hoping for a long time, if they put people's abilities straight up on their data sheet, that will be amazing too. Because you just have all the shit they can do.
Yep.
Well, the cool part about it is, unlike 8th edition, like it's going to be free and available day one. So you just download it and check everything out.
Yeah, you won't have to go, oh, I couldn't get my index because my local store only got 5.
Yeah.
This is like, hey, look, it's available online. And for those of us who are old and like to have our books, there's still going to be, if I understood them correctly, and they'll probably go into it more over the next couple of weeks, there's going to be data card packs available. So I'd assume they're going to be like what the if for those of you who have seen the Age of Sigmar cards, they have a deck of cards that basically is the data sheets with the info on them. And that's what it sounds like they were going to have available as well.
You think we're going to get more terrain? Like they just dropped the kill team terrain that like actually does stuff. And I'm wondering if we're going to see more of that, like terrain that actually has, like back in the day, again, remember when we used to have like terrain that could kill you basically, and all kinds of other shit like that. But it just had terrain that like had damaging terrain that buffed up psychics. You know what I mean? We just had different things. We had what was
I mean,
We have that now, but no one uses it.
yeah.
I mean, there's what 12 entries, 12 different types of terrain in the rulebook, the core rulebook right now, and no one uses it. There's all the books that have been released that talk about different types of terrain. No one uses it.
Look, Bastions when they came out had escape hatches that you could deploy on the board anywhere. So you could hop in a Bastion and go, all right, I'm going to disembark over there.
true? Wait,
it was stuff that-
escape tunnels.
Yeah, it was stuff.
The best part about Bastions is being able to throw 20 frag grenades into it.
Now that was hilarious.
They all auto hit.
Yep. As you went, instead of being able to throw one grenade, everyone could throw a grenade, and they all auto hit.
So how do you get the indexes? I imagine it's just going to be on their website. We don't know. They haven't announced it.
They've already said that they were going to have them as a download when they first were talking about it.
Yep, they said they're going to have them as a download. My guess is it'll be in Warhammer Community on the downloads page. It'll probably be on warhammer40000.com. They'll have a downloads page on that. Because if you follow the news side of Games Workshop, not just the models and everything, they actually in one of their press releases they put out that they're spending $6 million this year upgrading their website. I'm going to assume when they launch the new 40K, they launch the new website as well. Seems like a hand-in-hand kind of thing.
I can see that. I just like they showed escape pods and medbays for Kill Team. And I was just wondering if we were going to have more interactive type terrain. And I guess you're right on that. As long as it blocks line of sight. If we did more of an abstract thing, we could put more terrain out. You know what I mean? Where if you just said that a piece of terrain just basically, I guess, everything kind of gets an obscure rule. I mean, that was how it was played in, what, 3rd, 4th, 5th?
3rd and 4th. 5th was a little bit different. But yeah.
I mean,
like 3rd, if you were more than 3 inches into a forest, you could not see through it.
Right. But then also units actually used to block line of sight at that time, though.
Yeah, you can fire past your crew.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, I would like to see some different terrain and different game modes. Like, I like the boarding actions. Like, do I want to spend $200 on a table? No, not really. But I like the fact that it's an option. Like, we should be given more options to craft what kind of games we want, and not just, all right, here's some generic rules.
Sorry, I just love the fact that they go, Mike goes, they promised it'll work this time, the GW app. You know that an app's bad when they actually say, it's totally going to work, guys. I swear.
It hasn't worked in how long? How many different versions of this app have they had?
Now that's a greeting, by the way. Swiggity swaggity, Brad, coming for that booty next weekend.
Aren't you guys playing against each other round one? Brett and Brad?
I don't even notice. I don't even know where to look for that.
I know there were some call outs, so I think Brett's calling you out.
I'm gonna be the youngest man in the tournament. Because I'm gonna have a fake age. I'm gonna start pitching.
You'll be the shortest man at the tournament. I don't know about the youngest.
There's gonna be somebody shorter than me. Maybe.
Not going to that tournament.
That's true. I'm trying to think of anybody in DOG that's shorter than me.
There's one person.
Who?
Leo.
What's that? No.
Leo.
Oh, well, how about out of boys?
Oh, you're out of luck. You're the shortest person.
Yeah, I was like saying there's a small girl that I'm taller than, but like
it's like Jeff's even taller than you, which is frightening.
I mean, it's not exactly a woohoo, I'm taller than Brad. I'm super excited.
Brent, your plan is you need to start getting him drunk the day before so he can't make the first round of the tournament, so he win by default.
They tried that last year at Rocky Top. They're like, get Brad drunk. They're like, you don't understand until you get me over a certain edge. It only powers me up. I can't be stopped.
I don't know. There's a level of drunk. I think it's 8 bottles of wine in 2 rounds level.
That was still awesome with that, but I'm not even going there. But what's everybody want to see for 10th? What's the big thing that you guys would in chat, and both of you, Brandon and Brian, like if you were given your wish list, one thing? It can be anything, literally, big or small. What do you want to see in the new edition? Think something that might have been bothering you.
Go ahead, Brian.
Oh, that it's so many choices. I would like to see them give 9 universal layouts for terrain for match play that you can use. And that way there's a variety, but it's a preset variety, making it a little more interesting.
I can see that.
Now, would each layout be similar terrain layout, or would they be completely different tables? If we're looking at like WTC
similar
style?
terrain layout. Like I would like them to go 2 big ruins, 2 small ruins, 2 forests, 2 craters, 2 sets of pipes, 2 sets of forest type thing, and go. And this is the configuration on a board. And here's the 9 different layouts you can do. I don't care if you tie each one of them to a specific mission. It's just here's 9 layouts to do. And at least that way everyone can go and expect the same type of terrain. Granted, the pieces of terrain might be a little bit different, but the same basic footprint, same basic type. So when you're going into a tournament, there's some levelness that takes away gamesmanship. Because player plays terrain, and I've said it before, I'll continue to say it, drives me personally nuts. Because it just gives too big of an advantage to A, whoever wins the die roll, B, who's ever more familiar with it. And I would like that out of the game.
I just don't see that happening. And here's why. I mean, you may have a trade collection that way, but most local stores aren't going to have those pipelines and stuff that have never been used at a regular tournament. So, one, there's going to be a shortage if there's a mandatory list. And 2, people aren't going to have the time. So you're just going to say, hey, you're at this tournament, you don't own pipes? Well, it sucks to be you. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe moving forward.
If they do it with a generic layout going, this is a 3x3 piece of pipe, right? Area. Legitimately, you could cut out a piece of cardboard while waiting to build the pipes and go, bam, there it is. Right? You could in some ways, the small scatter stuff that hasn't been used in a while, you could 2D terrain that for the temporary to get yourself through. Everyone's got ruins of different sizes. If you don't have forests in a store, you're not playing any fantasy games in that store. There's a lot of the stuff that we have there. I guarantee you, because I pulled out the other night or last week on stream when we were talking about terrain, I pulled out boxes and boxes of unbuilt pipes from Command Edition sets and everything else where people got their GW ruins from. Mm-hmm. Those were in there. That stuff still exists. It's sitting in a box in some storeroom, in some store, in some gamer's room, ready to come out. I don't think there's a shortage on any of that stuff. Like, and if you're
for like 200 tables,
you can do it.
You can do it.
You can do it.
Is this what I'm reading is correct? Brad's going to be turning 52 next weekend.
Now, I will be doing...
I think your birthday's in July.
It is. I said I will be. Because he made fun of... He basically goes, Sugar's going to be 52, and he laughed about it. And I'm like, I am going to be 52. That's sad. That's the joke age for him to have me. I'm like, that's what I will be.
This past weekend, I was talking about your age, Brad, and everyone's like, he's only that young?
I look at John goes, is Brad okay? He's in another universe right now. So I occasionally decide to listen to techno music in my head occasionally. So things happen. I do agree with a couple people in the chat real quick. We're talking about what they wanted to see. Like Zooms is like, I want to see be able to use my book, not just a couple units. Goat's like, I want to basically play my Black Templars and not have it be random Astartes. That's one of the things that I want, not just for all the chapters, but for the factions in general. Like, I want chapters, craft worlds, all of them to have their specific identities back. You know what I mean? So you have a way that if you're playing Iron Hands, Imperial Fists, like you should look like an Iron Hands or Imperial Fist army. You know what I mean? You shouldn't just look like a Marine army that has this bonuses. Craft world should look like with this army, not with just bonuses.
Well, that's not going to be index hammer.
At the end of 8th edition, Zuber, myself, and Jeff, while cleaning off one of my shelves, moving the old books out, basically, we're going, all right, let's guess how many units were useful in this book. And we went through every book, like going at the beginning, we were like, oh, this many, and guessing. And then because we had seen so much of it, we were getting remarkably accurate, on the number of units. And we picked up one book and we were like 3. I'm not going to remember what book it was off the top of my head, but it was just like, we were like 3 units in that book are playable. And we went through it and we were like, oh, we can't be right on this. And we were like, oh yeah, it was 3 playable units. I agree with Zuberov. I would love to be able to go, I'm going to take this today and this today and this today and have it all be viable.
And that's the
will that ever be a case at a meta-defining list? There's always going to be a unit that has a slight advantage over another.
Yes, but I think if you're going to go with that, the Dark Eldar book almost did it.
The Dark Eldar book did almost do it.
Mm-hmm. Dark Eldar had a literally all the units were playable pretty much, and they were almost all played at some time in the meta.
I agree with you on that one. If you had one book out of 20 plus.
Yeah, I mean, it had some problems at the beginning, liquefiers and stuff like that, and you might say it needed to be nerfed, but like its internal balance was amazing. So it had.
And what book comes next after that?
I'm trying to think on that because like a lot of books just jump off a cliff once you get to a couple things.
Yeah, I mean, like, so the next closest, would you be doing it by percentage of the book?
Because
you have to do them.
Marines have an unfair advantage.
We have to do them by somebody that also has like enough things, because like you could say Harlequins, but they have like 5 units. You know what I mean? So,
right, like Votan, pretty much everything in that book was playable.
Yeah.
Right.
And a lot of his stuff actually got a lot better after the nerfs, to be honest with you, like Thunderkin and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, especially when you could bring him for free from reserve. So I'd say that. It has shit mechanics that need to be fixed, but yeah, the units are fairly playable.
Marines had so many data slates that I would say a third of them were playable at best. Right? I don't even know if it's that many. It might be, a sixth.
I mean, the problem with Marines is they have 6 different entries for a captain, 6 different entries for a lieutenant. It doesn't make any sense, but here we are.
Yeah, the other book was not great on that. Well, because the Falcon isn't competitive.
What was the worst book with the least amount of playable units?
Ooh.
No.
Yeah, I mean, like you basically go, I don't know, like there's not that many units in the book. I mean, what is not playable? Crutox, unless you're Brandon.
Hey, Crutox are amazing. They killed 5 Custo jet bikes in charging.
That's not even a thing. It's just literally not a thing. But it hurts my head that you just said that, because I'm just like,
it's
that's
true story.
True
story.
Thing.
It happened.
I mean
dice will be dice.
If you want to be that, you just go. I actually had snakes kill all of my Khorne berserkers with charging Tau warriors, fire warriors. Perfect. So I mean, things can happen. Worst book with CSM, they did have a shit ton of bad options.
Yeah, that was going to be my choice off the get-go. It was like CSM just had not great. I mean, like outside of that, I think that was probably the most disappointing book out of all the books.
What about Eldar?
I didn't think Eldar was that bad. I mean,
they have a lot of bad choices, though.
They have a lot of bad choices.
Plus, their troops were like, oof.
Oh. Oof. Did they have
the platforms making them count as 11?
That's exactly. Like, thanks for blast. What's that?
Did Eldar had the worst troops in the game?
Statistically, they had the worst troops in the game for a while.
Yeah.
Until they like basically did free reserves and changed the secondary and shit like that. Then Rangers became halfway decent.
Yeah. And then who would be second on worst troops?
Space Marines. Space Marine troops are terrible.
No, they're not. Infiltrators are amazing.
Yeah, now they are when they're cheap and you get free war gear.
Yeah, well, I'm talking now.
Good. They were still good.
They were still decent.
That Helix Gauntlet costing points was problematic.
They also were 120 before the Helix Gauntlet before. So they got their points all got taken down and they got free war gear.
Yeah, now they're good, but before you never saw them.
So I'm trying to think who's bad.
As we sit now, who's got the worst troops, right?
Good question.
I mean, Chaos Space Marines are in the running for worst troops, in my opinion.
Their troops are bad. But they have Accursed Cultists, which actually are good. And one unit of Legionnaires is actually decent if you give them the book, so they can cast spells.
Yeah.
Tau have good troops because Breacher's coming out of a Devilfish just actually fuck. So
So if you were forced to take 3 troops right now, I'll just throw this out there. If you had to take 3 troops, which army are you looking at going, God damn it?
Sisters.
Sisters
there
troops
you go.
are god awful. They are actually the worst now because the Eldar ones got a buff because Rangers are actually good with the secondary and they forward deploy. Sisters troops taking a unit of battle sisters hurts inside. Like they're
not
bad.
I mean, they're 55 points for 5 girls, and you can hold objective. I mean, they're not going to do anything.
That's 5 wounds, dude. They're awful.
And they die to a stiff breeze.
They are terrible, terrible. Oh, I don't know if there's any. Somebody in chat give me somebody worse troops than sisters.
Yeah, I didn't even think about sisters because I was like, oh yeah, sisters are pretty good. And I'm like, oh wait, no, not anymore.
But it has to be a real codex. It can't be like a side. You know what I mean? Don't tell me like Inquisition something is.
I actually really like the Imperial Navy troops. Those are pretty good. Arbite troops are pretty good too.
Yep. Because AdMech have good troops.
Mm-hmm.
Right, their troops are decent. Tyranid troops are good.
Well, they used to be good. I mean, there's still the Gaunts are still.
Hormagaunts and Termagants are still good.
Termagants are really nice because the Termagants still exist, though. That's half the reason they're better, though.
Yeah, but even with the increased range to their weapon that they got, and with Gorgon, where they're just wounding everything on a 4-up that's not a vehicle, they ain't bad.
Yeah.
Sisters of Silence.
I would know, but it doesn't. It's elite, and
Sisters of Silence are a troop choice.
Well, they're
elite choice.
They're elite, troop, and fast attack, depending on which weapon they have.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying, but it doesn't. But they're not the only one. That's and he does Necron or Blood Claws and the Sisters of Silence. We're talking like the worst choice because like Marines just take the other Marine ones. You know what I mean? And you just take literally Custode Guard as Sagittarium for Custodes if you really want that.
We'll tell that to Mike Henderson.
Regular Orc boys, I mean,
they're T5. They're pretty durable.
I mean, they're not bad. I mean, the sisters would love to have a conversation about who's sucky there when the orcs are dropping bows on them. So let me look at the sisters stat line. T3, strength 3, 1 attack.
Weapon skill 4 too.
Oh God. They are awful.
Yeah. It might be like, so we're saying the worst troop choice right now in the game, sisters.
Yeah. I can't think of anything worse. I mean, they're bad.
Yeah.
Just for the troop choice options, because orcs have good options. Orcs have the Beast Nagaboys.
Beast Nagaboys, and they have Grots. Grots are amazing.
Yep.
I mean,
outside infiltrators, I think.
So on the opposite end of the spectrum, what's the best troop choice in the game?
Death Guard.
Death Guard. They have Poxwalkers, and they have what's this? God damn it, Plague Brains.
I mean, Plague Brains are silly sauce now.
Yeah, Plague Marines are good.
John, Zangors are bad, but they're not like sisters bad.
They have a vulnerable save. They're great.
I don't know, Brad. I heard Zangors that get amazing saves are really good.
Screw you.
they got a save against Brad.
There you go. It's all good.
You may never live that down.
No.
I actually think Tau troops are pretty good. I mean, you're not taking them because crisis suits were pretty good, but like if you actually look at Fire Warriors, Breachers, and Groot, they actually get a lot done for their points.
Custodes troops are good, except for the fact that they cost $1 million. That's a true story, Kiara.
Yep.
But like, yeah, I mean, literally, Beast Nagaboys might be amazing for what they cost, though, man. That's a lot of attacks, and they're also +1 to hit. Big shit.
They also have. Do they have a 6-up invul save?
They got a 6-up.
6-up invul save.
That gives them something.
6-up invul save. They're +1 to hit vehicles and monsters. They have a strat for +1 wound. They actually are pretty nasty.
Yeah.
I think the big problem with them is you can't give them a special weapon.
Nurgle goes 90 plague marines coming to a city near you. I mean,
it's not bad.
It isn't. They also have like 70 or 80 points of war gear on them. I actually
they're slow as heck, but when they get there, it's gonna be impressive.
The only thing that sucks is rolling their attacks because every single person has a different special weapon. You're like, all right, hold on. This guy's got a snow shovel. This dude, like what?
Hold on, it's a plague snow shovel. So
plague snow shovel. This guy actually has a trident. What? Why?
I played against the giant cleaver, and the guy rolled a 6 to wound, doing like 12 wounds of sanguinary guard in WTC. It was awful. Just murdered like 6 guys for one dude.
I mean, I will go into the chat on this because Zoom's right, because before the nerf, Tyranid warriors were laughably better than everybody else's troops.
Yes, I will not disagree with you. I may or may not have taken advantage of that 1 or 100 times.
Also, Racks are still good. They were really busted when they auto or -1 to wound, or not -1 to wound, -1 damage with the Phenol Pain. But they're still super cheap. Super cheap OBSEC that has an invuln and a Phenol Pain. You can't go wrong with that. They're cheap as balls. I would put them in the running for best troop. They are really, really good.
They're good.
So I don't know. What's anybody else? Somebody give me, before we end tonight, somebody give me the best troop.
What about just Deathwatch?
No, they wreck their points.
Yeah, but you could do so much shenanigans with each unit.
But I'm saying they just crush their points. It's no longer it's the same thing. It's the same thing you could have said Tyranid warriors, but they just wreck their points.
Yep.
All that shit went up way up in points. So that's a thing. I don't know. I think that it's going to be tough to beat on that. Strike Marines, Infiltrators, Grots. I agree with all of those, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I will say that this has been the edition towards the end of this edition where the troops have become the least relevant of units, which is kind of a shame because they were the backbone for a long, long time. But it's going to be interesting to see where they go going forward with the OC on stuff, to where if like some of the troops get like OC3 because they're really important to the army, and it'll be really interesting.
I'm wondering if they're going to have anybody that does the Reaver thing where you can turn off objective secured, like just innately, because that's their whole point, the terror tactic type thing. I wonder if you're going to have more of that just built into people.
Probably Chaos Knights.
It'll be neat to see like if they have that built into where it's like, okay, take a leadership check. If you fail, you become OC0.
I could definitely see, Brandon, I think you're 100% right on that. I could see Chaos Knights having that type of ability right there. Fail your terror check and you're not OC anymore.
Maybe even Dark Eldar, because they're flaws.
Well, Night Lords,
Dark Eldar could take away OBSEC. I'd rather see them have. I actually wish that would be a great mechanic, is have all of their shit be very low objective secured score, but have the ability to take it away.
Yeah. There's a lot that opens up a lot of possibilities for some interesting things.
100%.
Because now affecting someone's leadership and forcing them to take a leadership check. And then if you fail, the morale thing, oh, look, you lose objective secure and everything else. It's kind of interesting.
I like it. Anybody want to throw something out before we go tonight?
Well, you never determine what army you're playing this weekend.
Oh, shit. That's true. I don't know. I didn't get any closer because we didn't talk about it afterwards.
Again, he's playing Jank Eldar.
Possibly. It's right next to the door, actually. Right next to my bedroom door. Right over there.
Right. You're playing Eldar. Are you doing the same list or are you doing something completely different?
I will 100% do the same list because I haven't even pretended to open up that case since then. It's ready to go.
Yes, you are absolutely right, Mike. I was at a bachelor party this past weekend, and it was a great time.
Was it the best of times?
It was the best of times. It was the drunkest of times.
I believe this wholeheartedly.
Same.
Can we give you the dwarf throw? Yes, you can. I'm much heavier than you think I am, though. So As Alan said,
Have you seen Sam though? Sam can pick you up.
It was one of my favorites when the first time I jumped on Alan's back and he was like, "You're the weight of a dying star. Get off me." Oh, everyone, please give us a like, give us a subscribe, check out our Patreon. It helps us continue to make this shenanigans-esque content, and we're putting out so much more moving forward. We've got a Brandon show. We've got more Brad shows. You're getting a lot of reaction videos from the Brad. Brian still owes me some coaching corner? Not coaching corner.
The coaching corner will start in 10th edition.
Yes. So we're going to do that. We're doing stuff. Please do stuff. Make me not die.
If you guys have any ideas or if there's anything you want to see, let us know.
Also, if you'd like us to showcase any of your models or anything like that, literally send them in. I will just show them during any of our shows if you'd like to.
Yep. And what's that email they should send them to?
I was just going to give the fakest of emails, but I'll put that in chat. I'll actually figure out which one I want to send to because I've got 3 that I now have set up. So the Brad show sounds gross. Oh, it is.
You should hear some of the ideas this man's coming up with.
You can't.
They're terrifying.
You can't look away though. You can't look away.
Only fans, just for Brad.
It's like a car crash. Oh God, I can't look away. Everyone, thanks for hanging out with us tonight, and we are
Have a good night.